Good morning. Today we will be discussing CASEVAC, or Casualty Evacuation, at the team level, and some of the systems that support it. This class is not a replacement for a Combat Lifesaver or CLS class, but will involve some crossover. There's a difference between CASEVAC and medevac. CASEVAC, or Casualty Evacuation, is the movement of casualties aboard non-medical vehicles or aircraft without en route medical care. These vehicles or aircraft are not staffed with medical personnel for en route care and do not have organic medical equipment. Medevac, or medical evacuation, is the timely and effective movement of the wounded, injured, or ill to and between medical treatment facilities on dedicated and properly marked medical platforms with en route care provided by medical personnel. Both are forms of evacuating a casualty. However, CASEVAC is done by non medical assets, while medevac is done by dedicated medical assets. For the dismounted reconnaissance platoon, CASEVAC means the movement of a wounded teammate from the point of injury to the CCP. The acronym CCP can refer to many things. In this case, it refers to the casualty collection point, which is a location where casualties are assembled for evacuation to a medical treatment facility. For our platoon, when a soldier is injured, he is moved from the casualty collection point that has been designated for that phase of the operation. Once at the CCP, he is either handed off to a CASEVAC vehicle, such as the platoon MRZR or the troop Humvee, or if possible, to a dedicated medevac vehicle, such as an FLA or medevac helicopter. The ambulance exchange point is defined as a location where a patient is transferred from one ambulance to another en route to a medical treatment facility. In the forward area, the threat of enemy ground activities, large concentrations of lethal weapon systems, and effective use of anti-aircraft weapons may dictate that the AXP be a predetermined rendezvous point for the rapid transfer of patients from one evacuation platform to another. The location of AXPs should be frequently changed to preclude attracting enemy fires. An AXP is really just a place that one medical asset, such as an FLA, can hand off the casualty to another medical asset, such as a medevac helicopter. From the AXP, the casualty will be evacuated to Role 1. Briefly, there are 4 roles in the Army health system. CASEVAC and or medevac's mission is to get the casualty to Role 1 care. Role 1 care consists of pre-hospital medical care to include self-aid, buddy aid, and care provided by a combat medic. The Battalion Aid Station or Unit Level Medical Care Facility is a Role 1 facility and provides medical treatment supervised by a physician assistant, or a physician. Role 1 facilities provide advanced trauma management and routine sick call. Documentation is completed using the TC3 card and MIST report. Every time you go to sick call, you are technically receiving Role 1 care. If Role 1 care is insufficient, a Role 2 facility provides advanced trauma management and emergency medical treatment, including continuation of resuscitation started at Role 1 care. Capabilities of a Role 2 facility include blood products, limited X-ray, limited laboratory, limited dental support, and combat and operational stress control, preventative medicine, and limited patient hold for 72 hours. Again, if Role 2 is insufficient, the soldier is evacuated to Role 3 care. A Role 3 facility, which is a combat support hospital, is a medical treatment facility staffed and equipped to provide care to all categories of patients. A Role 3 facility is essentially a hospital that is in theater. Role 4 is a real hospital in the United States or a friendly nation, such as Germany. It is important to know the chain all the way back to Role 4 care. However, at the team level, we are focused on much smaller scale tactical CASEVAC. This brings us to today's board, React to a Casualty. The Army's actions on taking a casualty follow the TC3 process, which stands for Tactical Combat Casualty Care. It is a 3-phase process shown on the left-hand side of the board. The first phase is care under fire, which happens at the point of injury. The second phase is tactical field care, which occurs at the CCP in order to stabilize the casualty. The third phase is tactical evacuation care, which prepares the casualty to be moved to Role 1 care. As soon as a soldier is injured, care under fire begins. The most critical part of care under fire is precise application of combat fires by all personnel. Continue the tactical mission, gain fire superiority, and then treat casualties. Immediately treating the casualty prior to gaining fire superiority increases the likelihood of taking another casualty, and then another. This will cause a downward spiral leading to the failure of the mission and the destruction of the unit. The only medical actions that occur in this phase are a brief assessment of the casualty status that should last no more than 60 seconds, and the application of a hasty tourniquet to control extremity hemorrhage. A hemorrhage is a rupture of an artery, that is, a blood vessel that carries blood from your heart to your limbs. Untreated hemorrhages will lead to death in most cases due to blood loss. More than 90% of 4,596 combat deaths post 11 September 2001 died of hemorrhage-associated injuries. Correct application of a tourniquet is the recommended management for all life-threatening extremity hemorrhages during care under fire. The end state of care under fire is that the team has gained fire superiority and applied a hasty tourniquet to the injured soldier. The injured soldier should be treated with his own IFAC behind cover. The next phase is tactical field care. Once the casualty has been moved off the objective and to the Team CCP, use the acronym MARCH to guide your actions. The M stands for massive hemorrhage. Convert any hasty tourniquets, which were applied on top of clothing, to deliberate tourniquets that are applied 2 inches above the wound underneath the clothing. Pack wounds with combat gauze and apply a junctional tourniquet if available. The A stands for airways. Check the airway to make sure it is open. Apply a nasal pharyngeal airway, or an NPA, and ventilate with a bag valve mask, BVM, if it is available. In events of facial trauma or airway failure, the medic can perform a cricothyrotomy. R stands for respirations. Apply a vented chest seal to open chest and exit chest wounds. To open entry and exit chest wounds. Treat tension pneumothorax by decompressing the chest at the mid-clavicular line at the second and third intercostal space using a 3.25-inch 14-gauge angiocatheter and a needle chest decompression. This is what we call a needle decompression kit. The C stands for circulation. Resuscitate with hypovolemic fluid if available using IV access. The team or platoon medic will understand this in detail, but in layman's terms, you're using an IV to maintain the casualty's blood pressure. Finally, the H stands for head injury and hypothermia. Check the casualty to see if they are alert, verbal, in pain, or unresponsive, and document your findings. Cover the casualty using a body bag, sleeping bag, or emergency blanket for warmth. The final phase is tactical evacuation care. In this stage, the 9-line medevac request is called if you have not already done so, and a MIST report is compiled. The MIST report is a written report handed to the receiving unit that relates, briefly, all relevant information for the casualty. The M stands for mechanism of injury, that is, how the person actually got injured. The I stands for the injury sustained, that is, what injury the soldier sustained as evaluated by the team. S is for symptoms. These are the observed signs of the injury and are generally very obvious. And T is the treatment applied. The last line details what the team has done thus far in regards to the casualty. In this example, the casualty received a gunshot wound to the chest as the mechanism of injury. The actual injury that the gunshot wound caused was tension pneumothorax and a collapsed lung. The symptoms of this were shortness of breath and uneven chest rise. In order to treat this, the treatment applied by the team was a chest seal and a needle decompression. This would all be compiled on the MIST report and physically handed to the receiving unit so that they understand what action has been taken to aid the casualty. At this point, the casualty will also be packed in a SCEDCO by the team if he was not packed in the SCEDCO to move him away from the objective. The team will now begin to move the casualty to the higher level CCP or AXP using the formation shown to the right of the board. The team may be moving to a higher level CCP if they conducted tactical field care in a team CCP, or they may move directly to an AXP if practical. During tactical evacuation care, the casualty is evacuated in a litter if possible. The team rotates through who is carrying the litter in order to mitigate fatigue and keep the casualty moving as quickly as possible. The team leader monitors the rotation. The only member not rotating through is the saw gunner, who remains at the 6 o'clock of the formation, pulling rear security in the direction that the team took contact. At the team leader's discretion, the saw gunner can be moved to a different side of the formation if he deems contact is more likely from that direction, or he can hand off the saw to one of the soldiers who has already carried the litter in order to move more soldiers through the rotation. Additionally, the SSO may also remain at the front if he is necessary for land navigation and route selection. Again, this is at the direction of the team leader. A few final notes on CASEVAC. Speed is security. The faster the casualty is evacuated, the more likely he is both to survive and for the team to not take another casualty. Designating a primary and alternate aid and litter team will further assist the team in a quick and efficient casualty evacuation. In this presentation, we have covered the following: the difference between medevac and CASEVAC, the difference between CCPs, or casualty collection points, and AXPs, or ambulance exchange points, the roles in the Army health system, TC3 procedures, and the formation for moving a casualty to the CCP or AXP. The following resources were used in preparing this presentation. Send any questions or comments to charlietrooptactics@outlook.com.